What do you think of Jordan Peele's Get Out?
It was fine. It was so good. I was literally, I don't know if you, you're in air jail. He went,
I hated the movie.
get that thing out of my face.
No comment.
No comment. I'm screaming. Okay. I was on the edge of my seat.
Welcome back to the Be Mean Fast Forward podcast. My name's Charlie Jake Sanchez.
My name's Kat Solko.
I have seen a lot of movies.
And I have not.
We are here to discuss Jordan Peele's Get Out from 2017.
2017.
2017.
We're continuing our spooky month of spooky movies that I somehow haven't seen.
That's right. Last week was Heather's.
Yeah.
And we are here now for Get Out. Kat, the fact that you haven't seen this is actually impressive.
Well, this one actually got spoiled for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happens or how, but I think it was such a cultural moment that I somehow wasn't a part of, but I still got the twist spoiled for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, but I was going to say, it's been a while since I've thought about it, so I don't know if I remember exactly what the twist is.
Okay, cool. This is one of the great bummers if you have been spoiled.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's. Well, yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
What it's like
I would say this movie is one of the great twists, and not necessarily like one twist, but multiple twists over the course of the movie. I think this was one of the best movie theater experiences that I think me and anyone who did watch this movie has experienced. Yeah.
I heard it was. I mean, yeah, I remember it being so popular, and I've seen his other movies. Okay, I'm a big Peele head.
You've seen all of his other movies?
I've seen Us, and I've seen Nope.
Those are the other two movies.
Okay, yeah.
Unless we're counting Keanu,
No.
which was a Key and Peele collaboration.
No, I'm talking about the Auteur Peele.
Okay.
Auteur era.
Well, hopefully you enjoy it as much as I did, and you get the same amount of thrill at home. I've probably only seen this 3 times or something.
Okay.
Which is not that many.
No, for you, no, that's not that many.
Considering like what this movie is to the zeitgeist. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Bugs digging for gold under the couch?
What is it? What is it, boy?
What is it? What did you find, boy?
Oh, it's a ball.
A ball.
Oh, no.
Oh, good. He has beans.
Well, it had to happen at some point.
Yeah, he hasn't been bothering us for the last few episodes.
He's been very docile for about 3 weeks, so this is nice. Anybody want to hear this?
Here, I can tilt
cut
it.
No.
Okay, good. He's trying to get his whole jaw around the ball. Oh, he dropped it. Oh, butthole shot. Great.
I forgot I was shooting horizontal.
This is also so weird because he doesn't play with balls. We have one tennis ball and he barely pays attention to it until right
this
now.
Tennis ball was like lodged deep in the closet, I think, and so now he's super into it.
Wow.
You have a comment on that? Do you have any words you'd like to say to us? I don't think so. That's a no comment. Bug suspiciously silent on Get Out.
Silent
or
silent?
silenced.
All right, this is devolving. Let's play the movie. Roll tape.
And we're back.
Oh my God, it was so good.
Cat. What do you think of Jordan Peele's Get Out?
It was fine. It was so good. I was literally, I don't know if you, you're in air jail. He went,
I hated the movie.
get that thing out of my face. No
comment.
No comment. I'm screaming. Okay. I was on the edge of my seat. the whole time. I don't know if you saw that.
Physically, she was
I
at
was like
the edge of the seat.
watching at the edge of the couch because I couldn't relax. It was like every moment. I think this movie was made with like the premise being we want the audience to just start screaming, "Get out!"
It was. He's quoted
over and over again.
He's quoted in the press
Well,
as
you
that
nailed
being
it,
the thesis
Keely.
of the movie.
You nailed it. I was like, okay, now this is the time. Now's the time. There were so many moments where I was like, this is too many times.
As we say now, a lot of red flags.
Yeah. Big red flag family.
Would you like to recap the movie for us?
Sure. The movie's about... Well, okay, this is my... Oh my goodness. Are you done?
Sir, may I get a comment from you, sir?
Wow. Fussy.
Very fussy guy.
Okay, recap, right?
Yeah, give us the recap.
Ooh, what are their names? Man. Chris?
Rose. Yep.
The Armitages. And his best friend, Rod. We just went over this. And Chris and Rose have been dating for like 4 or 5 months. And Rod's met her and, likes her, even though they have this funny little thing about them flirting behind Chris's back. And that's super innocent. And then she's invited him over to her parents' house for the weekend. And
for the first time
to meet them. And he's nervous because he asked her if she's dated a black guy before, and she says no. And he's like, do your parents know that I'm black? And she's like, why would I mention it? Like, that seems so weird. Mm-hmm. Like, they're cool people, don't worry. And
you haven't mentioned that Chris is a photographer, like a really good photographer, right?
Chris is a great photographer.
Yeah, great photographer.
So they go to drive to her parents' house. I don't know where they are.
So they're in New York City, but it's suggested it's upstate New York.
Okay, yeah.
But he didn't want to give it it was shot mostly in the South, I believe. But he didn't want to give it a place to let people off the hook, I think.
Yeah.
To get, if people are
it's
like
anywhere USA.
Well, this is a red state, so obviously this or that. It's just like, no, this is the upstate elite. Maybe New York is
where you think you're safe.
Where you think you're safe and false sense of security.
And Rod watches Chris's dog.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're driving and they're chatting and flirting, and all of a sudden, what I thought was a bird, because I think I looked away for like 1 second, ends up being like a deer that hits them, or they hit a deer that comes out of absolutely nowhere. It's the first jump scare of the movie. It scared the shit out of me. And it's this very creepy moment where Chris goes to check on the animal and it's making this terrible dying rattle.
Sound, yeah.
And he seems to have this connection with the dying animal for some reason. Empathy, yeah. It's like a very trance-like moment. And then it cuts to the police officer that they called to report that they hit a deer. And he's being low-key really weird to Chris. And
he's asking Chris for his ID. Chris wasn't driving.
Yeah, and
then
so
Allison Williams.
Rose steps up and she's like, no, why does he... That's fucked up. He doesn't have to give you anything.
Yep.
You don't have to give him anything. And then they joke about it where he was like, wow, that was kind of cool. Like, you stood up to the cops for me. Cool. And Chris, throughout the movie, is kind of a character who's very amiable. And he's like, it's okay. I'll give him my ID. It's fine. And throughout the movie, he's like, being bombarded with insanity, and he's like, it's okay, I can roll with the punches.
That one in particular, I think it's like the experience of a black person and the things that they have to put up with on a day-to-day basis, on a minute by minute
or
basis,
macro aggressions. They get to the house, and this is what I like to call the most normal family I've ever seen. Like such normal bantery parents,
Sweet family
dad
for
jokes,
the most part. Yeah.
really nice house.
Slight microaggressions here or there.
Yeah, like seemingly like well-meaning but like insensitive
Sure.
comments. I would have voted for Obama for a third term.
So funny that I didn't realize they introed that joke earlier when she's like, he's probably
he's
gonna
gonna make this joke. It's gonna be awful. What do you expect? He's a white guy. Like,
Yeah.
and those little tiny jokes throughout
Best
the
president
movie.
in my lifetime. I agree. And they're all just like standing staring at the nature. It's one of my favorite moments in the movie.
And Chris is just observing. So it's revealed that this weekend is also coincidentally a family reunion. And Rose is like, oh my God, that was this weekend? Fuck. You're going to have to meet all of my old relatives. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, relatives, neighbors, who knows, whatever.
Yeah. Cousins of cousins and stuff.
Yeah.
So then the family arrives. Is that the next?
think
Oh,
so.
no.
Well,
Then
there's-
he meets
yeah.
the help.
Yes.
And I really liked that they called it out right away where the dad, the Armitage dad, is like, I know what it looks like.
Yeah.
A white family, the only help are black people. Like,
their
it's just
explanation-
because they've been with the house and my father, they raised took care of my father, and we wanted to keep them on to keep them employed. So you meet Walter first. Walter is the groundskeeper, and creepiest intro. The car rolls by and he's like, hello. He's like, okay.
Kat was just like, what?
Yeah, that's not normal.
That was
Get
a moment
out.
where
I think that was
yeah.
my first get out, and they haven't even gotten into the house yet. And then you meet Georgina. She's so happy to be there. So happy. And she serves them tea. And then there's this weird awkward moment where she gets into a trance and she like almost spills the tea. And they're like, hey, Georgina, go take a nap, okay? And then they call that out where she's like, I'm really sorry. I don't know why my mom was weird to Georgina and like rude to her. That's never usually what they're like.
Yeah. There's also this subplot of Chris is a smoker and he's trying not to smoke around the family.
And the mom is a hypnotist.
And they realize they can tell he's jonesing for a cigarette.
Yeah. So she's like, do you want me to hypnotize you? It seems to work. And he's like, no, I'm good. So they go to bed. And he wakes up in the middle of the night after a crazy nightmare where...
It's not his...
It's about the deer. It's a deer flashback, right?
Oh, it's the deer flashback. Yeah, it's the forest.
It's the forest. And he wakes up, he's jonesing, so he goes outside to smoke. And Walter is dead sprinting
Straight
at
at him.
from the darkness. Get out. Get out, number 2. What the fuck? Also, Georgina's like smiling at no one in the house and the lights turn off and he's like, okay, get out, number 3. How is he not more like, if someone dead sprinted at me in the middle of the night, I'd be like, okay, I'm breaking up with you. I gotta go home. I gotta go home.
It's also if you're paying attention, if maybe you see some of the stuff coming. The grandfather was a track star earlier.
Yeah, it was great foreshadowing.
Yeah.
The grandfather was a track star who was beat out by Jesse
Owens. Yeah.
And he's like, and he almost got over it.
Yes.
Get out.
So good.
And then he gets back in the house. He's like, that's weird. Okay. Gets back in the house and the mom's awake and she's like, hey, come sit down. And she starts like stirring her little tea and talking to him about his past. And apparently his mom died in a very traumatizing car accident. He was at home watching TV. And so she's like helping him process that trauma.
Yeah, he all of a sudden he can't move. He's crying. Tears are streaming down his...
Amazing acting.
I mean, that was the audition scene, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's what got him the role. He did exactly that in the audition.
I don't know if I could do that. That's a crazy amount of like discipline.
Yeah.
He gets deeper and deeper in this hypnosis and then she goes, sink. And then he like drops into this like void. Loved it.
Falling.
It's like she's the TV that he was watching. Okay, we'll get into it. So he wakes up after that. and it's morning. And so he's like, I had the weirdest dream. And then he goes and he like kind of, people are arriving, right?
I think so.
And he's like starting to talk to people, and there's a ton of micro and big old macro
aggressions all across the board.
And
that
he's
party
just
scene
like
is crazy.
slowly becoming less and less affable with it. He's like, all right, 1 was fine, 2 is fine, 3, all right, can we just like, and it's getting worse. And so to like make himself more comfortable,
I think
he
so.
goes up to Walter and he's like, hey, he's like, I'm sorry I frightened you last night. I was just out for a run. Get out. Number 5.
He tries to communicate with him on like hey, we're like both black.
Yeah, on a mutual understanding level. And he's like, oh, haha, you mean my fellow brethren? Like, insane behavior. Crazy good acting from that guy too.
Yeah, that guy's really good.
And then he goes, oh, you were in with the mom for a while. Yeah. Did it work? Did the hypnosis work? And so he's like, oh, it wasn't a dream. That actually happened. And I don't want to smoke anymore. So it kind of did work.
Sick, yeah.
And then he goes to the family gathering. All of that montage happens. It's great. He meets Andre. Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield.
Who we've seen earlier in the movie. Oh, right.
That's how the movie opens. He gets abducted. Yeah. Great opening.
We'll get to all that, yeah.
So then Lakeith Stanfield is also not behaving like...
Lakeith Stanfield is acting like just a old white guy, basically. Yeah. Same as Walter and Georgina, same thing. And so...
He can't relate to any of these people at all, even less than almost the Armitages, you know?
So he takes a pic of him and flashes him, and Lakeith Stanfield has a freak out and tries to attack him, tells him to get out.
He says the title of the movie.
And then, everybody is calming everyone down. Lakeith Stanfield comes in after being hypnotized by the mom, and he apologizes for his behavior. But he sends a photo. Is that when he sends the photo of... Mm-hmm. Oh, but he can't get service, or his phone is dead because she keeps unhooking it.
Yeah, his phone keeps dying because it keeps getting unplugged. He thinks it's Georgina.
It is Georgina.
It is Georgina. Oh, yeah. And he's being gaslit to hell and back. And there's a moment in a really nice moment in the family reunion where he tries to get away from everyone.
Yeah. And
he's... taking photos with his camera, and then he goes to the gazebo area, and this blind man is there.
Stephen Root.
And they have a great conversation, and he's also an artist, but...
And he's like, I believe you have my stapler.
Is that the guy?
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen Office Space, but I know that reference. I love that actor. Camera? He was in... Ooh, what have I seen him in?
Oh, everything.
Anyway...
He has the conversation with Stephen Root about he's lost his eyesight. He used to be a photographer. Oh, he's an art dealer, and he has to have his assistant explain the art to him to purchase it. And they have this really kind of lovely moment, if not
mutual understanding
about art and everything. Yeah. And then the bingo starts, the game of bingo starts.
Yeah. So after the attack by Lakeith, he needs to get out of there. Chris needs to get out of there. So he and Rose go to the dock, and he's like, yo, I don't know if I can stay here. This is insane. This is all insane. And the audience is like, great, okay, leave. Meanwhile, there's an auction happening, silent auction.
The reveal.
Ruh-roh. And there's this great cut in between that and him freaking out, and you think that, okay, they're gonna break up, he's gonna leave, it's gonna be over. And Rose talks him down. She kind of appeals to his guilt because he confesses that he was so afraid that something happened to his mom that he didn't call the cops.
Yeah.
And she potentially could have been saved if he had acted sooner. And so
she was lying on the side of the road for a really long time.
And she was alive for a minute. And so he kind of has this realization that he's not going to abandon another person in his life, and so he stays with Rose. They go back.
I can't remember what the inciting incident is, but basically she's like, you know what? Let's get out of here.
Yeah, she says, I don't want to keep us here. It's been really weird, like whatever it is. And then he's like, okay, cool. All right, cool. Let's go. Like, let's go together. Sounds great.
Everyone's leaving or whatever. They come back in and they're packing up to leave.
Yeah. And he sees that the little child-sized door, which I hate. I hate the child-sized doors. He goes in and there's like a box.
It could have been none of the other stuff, and Kat would have been like, "Get out!" at the child-sized
doors. I would demolish the house if my house had a child-sized door.
You know,
that's
covered under the stairs.
That's different. This is like in a random little crawl space in your bedroom.
It
Anything could come out of there.
Yep. And boy, it did.
He opens the door. There's a box, and in the box is a picture of Rose.
Bunch of keepsakes.
She is next to a black man, and then he flips the page and there's another intimate photo of her next to another black guy and another black guy, another black guy. And then he sees Walter and Rose. And I love the acting because he's just like absorbing it so quietly. And he's like, oh, I don't know what's happening, but I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, let's go. Let's pack up we got to go now. The timeline's moved up. Let's go.
She's reaching in her purse, trying to find her keys. They go downstairs. He's like, let's go on the move.
And all of a sudden, the family's closing in. We didn't mention the crazy ass brother.
I know,
he's there.
We'll get there.
And they're closing in, and Rose is freaking out. And
she can't find the keys.
She can't find the keys. And he's like, Rose!
Where are the keys?
She goes, I can't give these to you, right, babe?
One of the great acting turns.
Oh my God. I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with Allison Williams. I did not know she had that in her. And then it's revealed.
Marnie forever.
He tries to get out, and and Catherine Keener clicks her little teacup 3 times, and he's out. He's back in the void. What is it called?
The sunken place.
The sunken place.
Yeah.
He wakes up, and he's tied to a chair in the basement that allegedly had black mold. Does not. And there's a TV, and it gives you this really weird infomercial about what's going to happen. And it turns out that I was correct about the twist, but I did forget about specifics. Okay. And they take the brain of an old white guy and they put it into the body of a young, spry black man. And then the white guy gets to live. And the black man gets pushed into like the deep subconscious. He's not killed, which is worse.
Hence why Georgina is like...
Georgina and Lakeith Stanfield and
Walter.
Walter all have moments where they almost get to the surface of themselves. So sad. And meanwhile, the guy who won the auction, Stephen Root, the blind man, is getting prepped for surgery. And
he's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And he's like, it
has
nothing to do with race or anything. I just want your eye, man.
Yeah, I just want your eye.
I want those things you see through.
Makes total sense. And then he does something very smart. The trigger is the 3 clicks of the teacup, so he plugs his ears with the stuffing from the chair
that he's been like tearing
that
at.
He's been tearing at,
freaked out. Yeah,
compulsively. And when the crazy brother comes in to take him to surgery and thinks he's out, he attacks the shit out of him, and then goes to the dad, attacks the shit out of the dad, stabs him with some antlers. Love that. Sets the OR on fire. Goes upstairs. Smashes that teacup, kills the mom with something in her eye. I can't really tell what that was.
I forgot what that was too.
It's decimating the whole family.
Yeah, and then the brother comes back and, tries to kill him and think he kills him. Rose is upstairs. Eating her weird little milk and cereal thing.
Girl after my own heart. Yes. And then he runs over Georgina, then takes her and is trying to save her, pulls her into the car. Yeah. He's driving off. Oh, yeah. He's driving off with Georgina. She wakes up, attacks him. They crash.
Yeah. He comes to.
Walter finds them. Georgina's dead. R.I.P. Georgina. Walter finds him and is starting to, strangle him. And he is so smart, again, takes his phone out and flashes Walter with the camera. And Walter wakes up. And then Rose is coming with her little shotgun. And he's let me do it. Shoots Rose. Shoots himself.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then it's just Rose bleeding out and Chris. And
He's strangling
he
her.
strangles her. She has this amazing moment where she's like smiling as he's killing her. And then he stops. He's like, I can't do it. I'm not going to do this. And she has the amazing second moment where she's like, what? Like, you're not going to kill me? That doesn't make sense in her worldview. Then the cops show up and you're like, oh my God, it's going to be that racist cop from earlier.
You think, I mean, based on...
It's Rod!
It's
He
Rod.
had an instinct and he followed it. There's a whole C plot where he's going to the police and no one believes him.
T.S. motherfucking A.
And they drive off and Rose dies in the street.
And the audience went fucking crazy.
All right, let's get into it.
Oh my God, that was it's a plot. It's a lot of plot.
But it's so good. It's like the stuff that we talk about that's like cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect.
Yeah, this happened.
So justified.
And then this happened. No, this happened, but then this happened.
This
right?
happened, but, or this happened, therefore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, this happened, therefore this happened.
Yeah.
But
this happened. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the opening sequence where Lakeith Stanfield gets abducted and he's talking to someone, and I know the twist, right? So it's like interesting that I wonder what my reaction would have been if I didn't know the twist.
Sure.
There's like merit to both, I think, watching something for the first time knowing the ending and then watching something for the first time going in super blind. Like this one I may have wanted not to be spoiled.
No question. Are you kidding me?
Because it's such a fun reveal.
It's so...
But having had it spoiled, I was looking for things from the very beginning. So he's talking on the phone to, I'm assuming, Rose.
Yes, good point.
And he's like, you got me out here in suburbia. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing to me? Like, I can't be walking around out here. And he's super uncomfortable in this very affluent neighborhood. And lo and behold, the car starts following him.
Run,
and he's like,
run, rabbit.
That song.
That was
so creepy.
like such a strange earworm in the movie theater. And you're like, whoa, what is that? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that feeling is.
Is that like tiptoe through the tulips, like a really creepy
Actually, you know
childhood like lullaby
very
thing?
much in the Fallout, like
totally
that
jukeboxy
weird,
but like in a horrible way.
Like this was fun for somebody at some point, but not for me.
Not anymore.
Run Rabbit was the like they that became sort of an anthem when they were chasing Hitler at the end, like at the end of World War II.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I looked that up.
Okay, slay for that song.
And then
so then it starts very normal. It's
Redbone by Childish Gambino plays. You see his photography.
Rose is coming to the house and she has her pastries and she is playing so normal. So I know she's evil. I knew that she was in on it. So then I was watching for the choices directorially and acting wise. And she's playing nothing. She's giving no foreshadow, except in the dialogue, you know?
She's playing a good white girlfriend.
An amazing person. Just so cool, so normal, so sensitive, so like, she's like, has this joke where she's like, oh, I'm going to leave you for Rod. Well, we have this chemistry. Hello. He's next.
The whole I think is it right after? I can't remember. But the song Siki Lisa Kwa Wahenga, is that like Siki Lisa?
It's a really cool
is translated, it's Swahili, I think. Translates to listen to your ancestors.
Amen.
So great. It's like at the beginning, like run.
Yeah, listen to your gut, man. Listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
We're telling you to get out. The jump scare, like I said, was insane because it looked like a bird to me. It came out so fast, and it's a very violent like sound. Yeah. And I didn't see that it was a deer. I don't know if you can you tell that it's a deer right when they hit it?
Well, it's just an assumption you base on like they're upstate New York or they're upstate in this place. Like it looked like a light brown, probably a deer.
To me, I like he's getting out of the car and there's a very long shot where you're hearing the moans.
Yeah.
And I was like, what animal makes that noise? It was very well done.
And
very,
after
very well
watching
done.
the movie, you realize he's going because the deer reminds him of his mom. And her being on the side of the road.
Oh no, I
And
just got
that's
that.
why he has that dream when the deer is out on the side of the road still.
Oh, and he's a child.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I just got that.
Yeah.
Oh man. And the deer, the deer and the buck head that's
Yes,
mounted
later on.
very emblematic of like
Yeah.
their
Game.
credo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Allison Williams is like not into the deer. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit about the deer. Her family hunts deer. You know? I wrote, is Allison Williams too normal? Like, she's just so cool.
I wrote Allison Williams is the GOAT.
She's telling off this cop. And I also thought the cop might be in on it. I was like, ooh, what's happening right now? What is...
But the cop is not in on it.
No, he's just racist.
She doesn't want a paper trail.
And she doesn't want a paper trail. We realized that afterwards. We were like, oh yeah, she didn't let him get the name because then there would be a trail. Mm-hmm. And she already fucked up with Lakeith Stanfield. There's a missing,
True, good point.
missing warrant there.
Oh, this is a crazy statistic, okay? Because this is all based on this idea that, like, this false sense of security, you go someplace, you think it's safe, and you get kidnapped, something happens to you. And it is a long history of this happening to black people. Emmett Till. Black people make up 13% of the U.S. population and 34% of its missing persons.
Yep.
So, all this based in real facts.
Right.
A long history.
Yes, exactly. Why did I write this thing? Who says this thing?
Oh, the dad goes, how long's this been going on? This
thing. They meet the folks. Like I said, Walter's fucking creepy. And then they meet the parents, and the parents are also way too normal and
Bradley
cool.
Whitford and Catherine Keener, probably two of the cooler, older white people that you could possibly find.
Excellent
Phenomenal casting. Bradley Whitford is like everyone's favorite, like, liberal guy.
Liberal, cool dad.
He's from West Wing, obviously, and Catherine Keener has got a lot of cachet.
Whoa, I did not put that together. I'd never seen Catherine Keener in anything else.
You've never seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin?
No.
That to me was like a huge thing for her. It's like she was. I had never seen her before. She's in a bunch of stuff. I mean, she's
Catherine Keener types when I'm older.
Sure.
She had this really cool tone in her voice that was like so low and so normal and steady. And there were moments, when they're drinking tea and she kind of takes charge of the family multiple times throughout the movie. You could tell she's like a bit of she's the matriarch.
Sure.
And then it goes down from there. Hierarchically. Uh-oh.
Well, in the same way that, like, the guys in any of these families are, like, super brash and super whatever, and then all of a sudden the mom's like, no.
Yeah,
and it's
settle
like,
down.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
It's all based in actual dynamics. Black mold down there, like you said in the intro, black mold down there is crazy. That's such a great line. Phenomenal. Oh, yeah, you can't go down there. We got a little bit of black mold. It's like perfect.
Yeah, every single line. And then I'm paying attention, right, to everything, because 90% of the opening of a horror movie is just foreshadowing.
Sure.
So then the context of the Olympic runners, and I noticed the line, he almost got over it, which is great foreshadowing.
Yeah, he almost got over it.
1 black groundskeeper is fine. 2 with Georgina, okay. For some reason,
Fine.
For some reason, I thought there was 3 people of color as the help. I don't know why I counted 3. I think it was because Walter was in the front of the house, and then he was in the backyard in the next shot, and I was like, you guys, you have to think this is crazy, right? You have to get out right now. Turns out I was mistaken. And then there's the great moment where they're drinking tea, and she taps 3 times on the glass when Georgina has her, moment.
She, resets.
Ugh. that casting is also
Oh, she's
incredible. She does
what
the
she
smile
has to pull
so
off
well.
in the short amount of time she has it. This is just and the iconic like no, and she's just like on the verge of tears. Yeah, that was incredible. Caleb Landry Jones.
Yeah,
as
so the crazy brother shows up.
Yeah,
He's great.
he's awesome.
I believe that he is a hair's breadth away from killing anyone at any time.
He turns it up. He very like channels like the Heath Ledger jokery type thing going on. I thought he was
but
gonna
it wasn't
be like,
even like outlandish to me.
I thought he was gonna be like a massive deal after this movie. I was just like, oh, that guy's gonna.
He's done stuff, right?
Yeah,
No?
he's done a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that MMA shit is just like, it's also I have something against MMA actually. It just turns out like some of the worst people on earth love MMA. You know what I mean? So
I kind of like MMA.
well,
I don't like boxing as much as I like MMA. I don't know why.
I like boxing way more. I like the tradition. I like all of it. It's cool.
There's tradition. There's like thousands of years of tradition in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess they combine all of them
reminded
together.
is like all these dudes who like do jujitsu.
Want me to put you in a chokehold? And Catherine Keener gets that moment on the dinner scene where she's like, "Hey, stop," and it's like there's a vibe in the room that she has the power now.
Yeah.
And she's quelled him. And you realize later that it's because she doesn't want him damaging the goods, you know?
Yes, totally.
Don't be too rough on him.
Like he goes, I wasn't gonna
hurt him. Oh, God. So
I love that scene though when she's like, what? Like she's freaking out because, you know, everyone's acting weird and like she kind of is saying like da 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 like, well, I don't know why my parents would say that, like you were mentioning earlier.
Oh, Allison Williams.
And then he's just like, I told you so.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a great commentary on like if Rose was a normal person. This scene is like there to show like, yeah, you think it's going to be normal, but for me it's never normal. It's never totally fine.
Yeah,
I always have to go in with
your blindfold.
Yeah, with a guard up or like with a prep of knowing I'm going to be upset about something and I cannot show it, you know? Mm-hmm. Because people will be microaggressive to me. Yeah. They just can't help it. It's great.
Yeah, you have to be perfect at all times, even when people are acting insane.
Yes.
The sunken plays, Daniel Kaluuya. We were talking about Daniel Kaluuya nominated for an Oscar, obviously, for this movie.
Makes total sense.
He was nominated that year. I was like, why? I was like, after the movie, why didn't he win the Oscar? Like, let's look at the field. Oh, he was nominated with Gary Oldman, Daniel Day-Lewis, Denzel, and Timothée Chalamet. I was like, that's a tough year.
Any other year, and he'd have won.
I actually do think so. I think they're like maybe a year before, a year after, but Phantom Thread and Darkest Hour, Gary Oldman, which is
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, and Timothée Chalamet.
I like that. What's the what's the voice that the Bene Gesserit use?
Oh yeah, the voice. I think it's just the voice.
Is it?
I think so.
And Catherine Keener's like, sink. Yeah, and it's sink. Like, it does the effect. And I'm like,
It was awesome to see you react in real time to all these things. Because even though you knew what the twist, you were constantly being
It's not
thrilled.
about the twist. It's about how you get to the twist. Mm-hmm. And how subtly you foreshadow the twist. Yeah. And I loved, did he write this himself?
He wrote this himself.
This is insane
this was
writing.
His whole idea. He actually pitched this, or he was like talking to, I think the guy Sean McKittrick, who's the producing partner of Richard Kelly, who made Donnie Darko, and he was like hanging out with him. We got introduced by Keegan-Michael Key, and he was like, "Do you have anything like that you're working on?" And so he pitched him it, and he was like, "I will buy that pitch. I'll pay you to keep going on that one." And so that was 2013, 4 years in gestation, probably longer, obviously. Yeah.
Cool.
All of the style and the thriller horror mixtures, like Hitchcockian and everything. There's that great moment when he's like looking through his lens, and it's very Rear Window.
Yeah.
If you've seen, have you seen it?
No, I just understand
But yeah,
the
that
reference.
just like
yeah.
idea of like looking through, and then
And
something,
seeing something that you're like, oh. And
It's one of my favorite little.
he sees
homages.
Georgina like adjust her. You think it's a wig?
Yeah,
it might be a wig.
It is a wig.
It is a wig, right?
She's got.
Yeah, because she has to hide her incision, and she like doesn't she turn like I hate those moments when
Yeah,
you're
she just,
looking
like-
in the lens and she like turns right to you and you're like and he has the moment we have where he's like, oh sorry, I'm looking at the birds. So you see Lakeith Stanfield again. He's doing this like smile that looks like he's in pain.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a hat now that I realize. I'm like, yeah, because they have to cover the scar.
Right. Yeah.
And the hat looks
What is
like,
that called? It's like a Dixie hat or something?
It looks like it's from like old South. It's really uncomfortable, you know? It's super evocative.
Yeah, all the little intricacies of all the design.
Because
and
everyone
the
else
lines
is
and
dressed
this and
in
that.
like, I think black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's dressed in these like neutral kind of like rustic fabrics and a straw hat. And you're like, huh? And he goes up to him and he's like, what does he say? It's good to see another brother here. And he's like, oh, yes, indubitably. Whatever he says, he's like talking insane. And then he starts to get like a, I gotta get out of here. This is not right.
Yeah.
One is fine, two's a something, and three's a pattern or whatever. It's like, this is the third black person who is not behaving. Like,
not to mention every single white person here is making comments about his build, just every little thing that
every couple, because it's the gentlemen who want the body. They want it for different reasons.
Yeah, the wives are like checking them out in different ways.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you must have great stamina. And then you see Stephen Root, and my thought was like, is the twist going to be that he's the only like good white person in this whole movie? No. He's in the auction like 2 minutes later. I'm like, damn. But that's a great casting too, because he almost puts you at ease because he's not like the other white people. He's like very relatable. He doesn't like all the bullshit that's happening. He's like, I'm sorry about the way they're talking to you. Like, it's so much worse that he's aware of it. So much worse.
Oh, nothing I don't want to be doing. That's the.
Yeah. He's
Walter.
like, what did he say? He's like, nothing I don't want to be doing.
Yeah. Rose, he's just like, she's
she's a very special girl. And he's like, oh, I think the groundskeeper wants to fuck you. She's like,
but that's her grandpa.
He's talking like a protective grandfather, and he's like, I'm pretty sure that guy has a thing for you. And she's like, ew, no.
I was writing, Bradley Whitford is having a blast. The whole movie, he's just enjoying the hell out of every single line delivery.
Yeah.
I put when Allison Williams is kind of like guilting him, and I was like, she's weaponizing her white woman tears.
White woman tears. Yeah, exactly. She's like, you're gonna leave me here with these people alone. So he takes a picture of Lakeith. He's like, oh, fuck. He's like, I didn't mean to take. We've all had the moment where you're trying to sneaky take a picture and it's a flash, and you're like,
We've all had that moment.
Don't we? Don't we all haven't we all tried to sneakily take a photo of something?
I think there are worse things to get caught doing.
Anyway, the pain of all of the, well, I guess it's only two people who break through almost. It's Georgina and Lakeith Stanfield. I can't remember his character's name. And when she's crying like agony, but she's like smiling like a crazy person, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, the actual this movie is incredibly entertaining, very funny, but when you break it down, it is so sad, so visceral, and
there's a part of you that I wanted him to save everyone.
Yeah.
but they're not gonna get their own brains back. Like they get to essentially like kill
At
themselves
the end,
and
he kills
escape.
himself. Walter kills himself, and it's like,
In no hesitation either.
No.
He's like, I've
Get
been
me out
waiting
of this
probably
prison.
for this for a long time.
yeah.
Because the dad, the patriarch, I think died like when the kids were still young. You know, he like developed this in the montage
that's
in the
right,
movie
yeah.
infomercial. The kids are like 12.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
So he's probably been
been a while.
no, because there's a picture of Rose with the guy.
Oh, true. Good point.
Okay, so they've been developing this,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
okay, maybe like 10 years, something like that.
I like the when she like is on the phone with Rod, and he's like, "Where's Chris?" And she's just like, "Well, what do you mean? I don't know. He left." Da, 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 da. And like, and then she's like, "We all know that you want to fuck me." Da, 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 da. And she's like, "What?" And he throws his phone. He's like, "Oh,
Bitch is crazy.
she's a genius."
She's a genius. Oh god, because he's recording the call. So
That's
yeah,
right. That's right.
So they try to get out. She manipulates his own mother's death against him, and then I found that it's so interesting that Rose was like, you know what, we should leave. It's like she's playing with her food.
Oh yeah, there was conversation around her being a victim of this sort of thing, and they were like, "No, Rose is evil. Rose is maybe the purest form of evil."
She's the most indoctrinated, almost, because she's the one who's like, first of all, she's a psychopath.
She's like a spider. She's just like, she's got her web. She's like got her little flies in it.
She loves every part of this.
Yeah.
Because, as it's subtly shown, she's like believes in this hierarchical thing so much. Also, she eats her cereal and her milk separately. I'm never going to, how do I put this?
Beat the allegations.
That sounds great to me. Now, I also understand that I'm currently wearing a turtleneck. This was not planned.
And the audience, the comments are like, "Get out, Charlie, get out."
Get out, Charlie. She's playing the long game.
Trust me, I was staring at you through the movie.
There are certain aspects of white people-ness that he really nails. And some of us like really cold milk.
What's up with that?
Some of us really love really cold milk. Like a glass. It's so much more refreshing than juice or...
Do you want to tell the audience about your little thing? Is this private?
Do you want to tell them about it?
So Kat, as a snack, will take a nice cold glass of milk.
Yeah.
With a side cup of chocolate chip cookies. No, sorry, chocolate. That would be normal.
That would be normal. You tried to normalize
chocolate
it.
chips. She eats chocolate chips and drinks her milk. Actually, they're together.
Most of the time I put the chocolate chips in the milk.
Can you break it down for the audience? Like what's up with that?
It's like you get chocolate, you get to eat chocolate, but it's broken up in little bitty pieces because I like the mini chocolate chips, and it's made cold. You know how sometimes people freeze gummy bears because it's like fun to eat them cold? So you're chewing on this really cold chocolate, and you're getting to sip a really nice, refreshing mouthful of milk. Ooh, I wish I didn't say mouthful. And then you get chocolate on the back end, and it's like eating a chocolate chip cookie and milk, minus the hassle of having to bake a cookie. And I said what I said.
Kat would try to... She would try to rationalize this early on in our relationship as her household was an ingredients household.
Yes, it was. My sister can attest. For snacks, we didn't have prepackaged shit. You could either chew on dry pasta, you could make yourself like a little chocolate breakfast shake with the powder and then like the milk, which is pretty good. And if you wanted like cookies or candy, my dad would like always buy these really gross, like, oatmeal coconut cookies. I didn't like them. I wanted chocolate chip cookies. I didn't have them. My mom never kept them in the house. I put chocolate chips in milk. We've derailed a little bit.
I just want to say, like, you seemed like you were kind of normal again, and then you said chew on dried pasta.
You've never done that? as a snack? Because you're really hungry and your mom says dinner will be ready in like an hour and you cannot wait that long, but you do not have pre-prepared snacks. So you have to take the little spaghetti out of its package and then chew on it nibble by nibble and like slowly chew it because it's really hard, but your saliva is slowly breaking the pasta down so that it's like you're like gnawing on it a little bit.
We are keeping all of this.
Please don't break up with me.
We're keeping, well, as long as I'm able to keep all of this in the podcast.
You have to keep me, please.
So
no one else will accept me like this.
So yeah, I think
I literally wrote white woman tears. I just saw that. That's funny.
I did too. Crazy.
Okay, so The Turn. We're also watching Girls, and I was like, Allison Williams is not that great of an actress.
I think she's
and he
so
was
good.
like, no, she's really good. And I'm like, well, not in the first season. She learned. She took some classes or something. Whoa.
She's incredible. Look.
The panic that she has rifling through. And honestly, if I hadn't known the twist, I would have probably been thinking, this is too long to be looking for keys.
It goes on for a really long time.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the family's like, and you think the twist is that the family's bad, but she's good. And it's a twist on a twist, which is that, nope, she's the mastermind.
I love this movie so much. This is one of those movies where it's perfect pretty much. And so the whole time I'm like watching the movie and I just turn off my brain. I stop writing notes and I'm just really enjoying myself. And we were talking about this with Alien Romulus, where I had these little criticisms here and there. And I told Kat the reason why I had those criticisms is because if I didn't have them, all I would just say is like, that was awesome. That moment when the xenomorph took the person with the that was awesome. I'd be like
this movie is an
Chris
entire
Farley.
Movie of that was awesome.
Exactly. And so I was watching it this time actually, and I just had like a few notes which were I would have loved just a little bit pull back on some of that stuff so the reveal is even more, crazy.
Yeah, like it's almost like they reveal it before they reveal it.
Exactly. And that's not a criticism. That's it's I think he's reveling in that feeling, which I think is probably the right move because it is
true. Because
so intense.
you can't trust Rose before you know you can't trust Rose, and she just reveals that.
So why not string it along and make the audience feel so fucked up?
Right.
And so that was my like.
I don't know how I would fix it.
It's not a fix.
It's so good.
Just,
no, it's not.
Strictly
it's
a choice.
It's a choice, and I loved it. I loved the I can't give these to you, right, babe?
Her little hunting outfit and her ponytail.
Her ponytail that is so slicked back, and her cheekbones that are like so sharp, and then the very pale makeup they put her in.
Man, in the end
she's
of the movie.
like American Psycho.
Yeah,
and I've never seen that movie.
Totally, exactly.
But
she's Patrick Bateman.
Blank slate.
Yeah.
And when she is talking to Rod on the phone, we haven't talked about Rod, but he's amazing the whole time.
Little Rel.
The voice is on, but then they cut to her, and she's like, oh my God.
Motionless.
I didn't realize that he hadn't come back yet. Oh no. Oh, it's so creepy. It's so good. I really want to do that in a movie someday.
And that subplot of like Rod trying to,
get the police involved, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna get my superiors. And then she's like, don't say I never do anything for you. I let you listen to that bullshit with me. So good.
It's great. And this whole TSA
running joke
thing.
of TSA gets shit done.
They investigate. They have to investigate.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel Kaluuya was essentially brought in because of his Black Mirror episode, 15 Million Merits. I had never seen it.
That's the pilot of Black Mirror.
That's the pilot?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. It's really good. He's he's one of those actors that I'm sure has been training for so long. But when he broke out, he was fully baked as a incredible actor. It's not like you saw him in one thing and you're like, oh, he's decent. He has potential.
No, he came fully
there.
formed. Yeah. Hence why the audition, when we're talking about the tears rolling down, I'm like, the training, the talent, all of it.
I don't know where he trained, but it's like him and like
I think he's
Lupita
like
Nyong'o
from one of the
and
great colleges.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's British, right?
He's British. He based Chris, he saw him as kind of the everyman, very amiable, like you said, kind of like J. Cole. He's like everybody knows a Chris, essentially. Like a guy who just like is really nice, goes along with things, very talented. And yeah, he based the sunken place on that falling sensation when you're having a dream and that wake up. He's just like, well, what if you never wake up? And then the idea kind of came fully formed after that, where he's like, well, what if you're there and you see through this thing and it's kind of like a TV screen. He connected it with the prison industrial complex and this idea of like black men being incarcerated in all these different ways over the years.
Yeah, that slavery never ended.
Slavery,
it just
exactly.
became the prison industrial complex.
And so, yeah, the idea kind of like fell out of him. And so by the time he's writing this, he's in tears, he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's an incredible movie. It's like, I don't know, I've been listening to a lot of movie commentary videos lately, maybe for inspiration, but all the ones that are bad that people have an issue with is that they have the things like the bones of a plot, the bones of a trope or something, but it means nothing. There's no deeper meaning to it at all.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about what we're talking about, but yes, that's exactly right. That's like, and some this of the has meaning in every single
thing. Yeah.
Oh, Get Out, opening weekend, big hit. Following weekend was Logan, and that claimed number 1. Following weekend after that was Kong Skull Island. Just a good summer at the movies, like really great movies. He was inspired to become a filmmaker because of movies like Glory, Edward Scissorhands, Thelma and Louise, and Aliens. I found it funny that it was like Aliens, not Alien.
Yeah, I still have to watch that one.
Yeah. And then this was obvious references like Rosemary's Baby, Night of the Living Dead, Candyman, Silence of the Lambs, Rear Window, The Burbs. I was like, hell yeah, dude, a Burbs mention?
Not The Birds? You said The Burbs?
The Burbs.
What's that?
The Burbs is a Tom Hanks Halloween classic. I would say it's semi-horror. It's like
horror comedy.
It's a horror comedy. Yeah. Yeah, really, really cool movie. And Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, obviously.
I don't know that one either.
That's Sidney Poitier. It's a famous movie where the white woman brings over her new black boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so huge inspiration, obviously.
Wow. I just want to talk about the last moment that like struck me as like amazing writing or directing, I suppose, which is Allison Williams is bleeding out and Daniel Kaluuya is strangling her and is ready to kill her, and her face when she realizes that he's gonna kill her is smiling like in this satisfied grin, as if to say, prove I'm right.
Yeah.
That you are going to kill me and you are a monster and what I'm doing is justified and all of that. And then he doesn't. He's like, I can't do it. I can't. And that rocks her brain. I was like, it's a beautiful, it's in no words. It's just like, almost like a hat on a hat, but she gets the comeuppance by dying, but then she gets the more important comeuppance by having her worldview
your existence
broken.
Was false.
Yeah,
like this idea, this thing that you were a part of.
You know who these people are.
Yeah,
and you have no idea.
And that is essentially the truth about all of this history, about all of these things. Yeah. Is you had it one way in your head because you are evil and fucked up. You're the problem. And that's beautifully said, actually. That's a really nice, that's something that I don't think a lot of people catch, is that moment of like, why is that happening? People are like, oh, she's just evil, she's just crazy. But I think there is more there.
There's like, he did something really cool in that 5 seconds. Yeah. So good. Big old fan.
Daniel Kaluuya won the Oscar for Judas and the Black Messiah like 4 years after this. Totally deserved. He's amazing. He was great in Nope. We watched Nope together.
Very different character, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand now because in interviews he was like, I don't want to be the amiable black guy character. I can't remember what the actual quote is, but he was like, I want to be the guy who doesn't.
Yeah, I don't need to be
react,
likable.
like,
I'm not
likable,
reacting.
yeah.
Basically, like Clint Eastwood or something back in the day. Like this,
And he
idea.
doesn't see, many black characters who are able to get to do that. So
Exactly.
he was like, I want to be that guy.
People are constantly worried about being likable, and he's just like, this character is not interested in any of that.
Yeah.
He's almost anti-charismatic at times.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he is the hero as a result. Yeah. Not us. Nope. Really, really enjoyed Nope. Love Nope.
I really liked Us too. I like his ideas, his
He's
concepts.
a vision. He's one of the great visionaries in movies.
It's like very unique. It's very unique concepts, while having the like comfort and nostalgia of like classic horror. Like Us is an intruder horror movie.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the house, they're outside the house. How do you get out and they get in? That kind of thing.
It's also, it taps into this idea that I've always thought is there are a lot of people out there who are negative about kind of like film history because it is mainly white. Whereas someone like Jordan Peele is taking all of that history and making his own thing out of it. And I find that to be so inspiring and so lovely. This idea that like, these movies kind of like growing up, like being like, well, there's not that many brown people in these movies unless they're like,
Token.
And all of a sudden, but like this idea that you can empathize, you can enjoy, you can be inspired by. And even though it wasn't necessarily made in your image, it was made for you, and taking that and like making something out of it is so beautiful, incredibly inspiring. And it's just something that there's a lot of negativity around, I think, older movies because of something like that. Whereas I just think like, you take it and you tell your own story moving forward. It's one of the greatest things that I think any filmmaker can do, filmmaker of color specifically.
Yeah, that's
really
beautiful.
nice to see.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was Get Out.
We've been doing banger after banger. We have a fun one coming up next week too.
Which? Oh, wait, hold up. Yes, I do know. Okay.
You don't know?
Gotcha.
Okay.
This movie came out in the same year as like Lady Bird and Phantom Thread. It was like a phenomenal movie year. Call Me by Your Name. Lady Bird and Get Out, like simultaneously, two of some of the best movies of the past 20 years.
From first-time directors?
Greta Gerwig and Jordan Peele. I don't know. It's just like one of those years that'll stay with me for the rest of my life.
Totally.
So cool. Yeah.
It felt like that was like an era shift.
100%. Because look at Hollywood now.
We're in that era.
Look at what's happened since. Like 7 years from that, like Barbie last year, this big expansion. And Jordan Peele being at Universal, being able to do anything he wants, basically, being given a blank check.
Give that man every check. Yep.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Some people don't. But some people do.
They have given that man the blankest check.
The largest blank check. It's disgusting. Anyway, you guys will have to guess who we're talking about. It'll be very easy. I wrote smart. This movie is so smart.
Incredibly smart.
And I'm so glad that he made it. Yeah. And I'd like to work with him one day.
And I would have voted for Obama a third time.
And with that,
greatest president in my lifetime.
Good night.
Hands down.
And good luck to me. Bye.